And there we are. We are live. We are live. Welcome to Big D After Dark. W- Welcome to the show. All right, yeah, we got a little tape delay there. That's normal. Nothing to be upset about. Welcome everybody to Big D After Dark. We hope you all are joining us and sending in your comments and questions as we break down recent FC Dallas action. Of course, brought to you by the great people at BigDSoccer.com. And of course, regularly here with us, I'm Nathan Hill. You can follow me at Nathan J Hill on Twitter. And there is we got the screens reversed here, but in the middle there is Jose Carmona at El Chico Carmona on Twitter, and then finally Ben Lyon at Bird Turgler on Twitter. So please follow us and communicate with us and everything. All right, we're here to talk on this Labor Day weekend. Hope you're having a good one about FC Dallas and the latest kind of action. And so let's get right into it. FC Dallas traveled to Kansas City, a tough place to play against a tough team, and came out with a 1-1 draw. Um, Overall, an away draw. We've already established this. We've established an away draw. You take it. You take it when you get it, because points on the road are hard to get most of the time and against teams like Kansas City. So we're going to break it down. Of course, good news is Franco Jara scored his first MLS goal. It was a great goal that may not have came out of the great build up, but it was from pressure, from a turnover, and it was as easy as they come, and just exciting to get him going. So the team came out strong, and then it was pretty much a battle the rest of the way. So let's talk about it. Ben, let's start with you. What's the what did you, or some of the positives you take away from the match, and what was? Well, let's just start with positives first. Let's go there.
Let's start with the one positive, which is like I'm not gonna have to miss the games, or at least half of the game or all of the game anymore going forward, which is the big positive for me, and that's all that really matters. But getting Hara off the schneid is great. Acosta really creating that play is great, aside from the fact that we don't know what's wrong with him now. And a couple of our young stud midfielders are probably going to have to step up and replace that.
Mm.
And that was great. Like the cheeky casual flip over Tim Malia is, I'm sure, what Dan Hunt was imagining whenever he out of character spent for like a established star.
Mm.
Yeah, and it was great. It's great to see him finally get one in there. I mean, he certainly seemed pretty excited about it. It's a little disappointing that there wasn't more. I was hoping it was going to be like, hey, open up the floodgates. But, he's the reason we got the 1 point on the road. And, I think with all the injuries and stuff, it was pretty much there wasn't going to be any more goals after that. I mean, it's still, I'm glad he scored it early, and hopefully it's a sign of things to come. I mean, I think the guy's still getting in form. So I think, sure, he's not the fastest guy, but you can see that his moves and his timing, his positioning make up for that speed, lack of speed. So it's not all about speed. It's what you do and when you do it, what you do to create space and create opportunities. And you see him doing those little things. And like I said, he's still probably not in full form. So, yeah, I think we'll see more of that. I think we'll see more goals coming forward, and you got to be excited. And there, for a guy who came in and everyone says, oh, well, he gets all his goals off of PKs. I'm all for him getting a lot of goals other ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, let me just add to that he got fouled 5 times during that game, which does not happen unless you're causing trouble for the two center backs that have to pay attention to you. So
Yeah,
that's to me, like, it's probably like the most promising sign about his game against Kansas City.
it didn't help that the refs really allowed things to get really physical. I mean, I know I check out what the other fans are saying on the other side, and they were complaining, wildly about how much fouling Dallas was doing, but they was tit for tat. I mean, Sporting Kansas City was really laying the hammer down on Hara and on Cervania. I mean, those guys both got fouled 5 times, and they just let them get away with it. Really.
Yeah, no. It's a classical Vermes team. He likes to work the edges on that, and I mean, Poppy's teams like to do that too. So it's not all that. Not all that foreign to us, really.
I have to say that if I was a ref, like, giving a yellow card to Vermes would be like on my bucket list, like, or to Cindy Mop, but because that guy he just doesn't stop. He just doesn't stop, and I know he's a competitor and everything, but yeah, it's just annoying after a while, and just Vermes going after the refs for every little stinking thing, every throw in and stuff. You're like, dude. Chill out a little bit.
Like, honestly, like, I think, like, Vermes and Oscar Pareja's personalities as players carry over to their coaching style, and they're not dissimilar.
Well, we saw some other interesting things, positives, and we talked about we've talked about it on the site. We've talked about it a lot, but the emergence of Johnny Nelson, and just another solid game from the guy, man of the match, with his defensive work. It was interesting because I felt, he did have a stronger game than Ryan Hollingshead. Brian got turned around a bit against the speed of Gerson and throughout the match. And then, of course, you saw Bresson come in and play a heroic role, sacrificing his body late to preserve the point. So there's a lot of positive things out of a defense that had, and that's, I think, one thing I've loved about FC Dallas is that they've always had a sense of a defensive work ethic, of a scrambling work ethic. I mean, Zach Lloyd was one of my favorite players because he had that gift. So to see the team still is figuring that out and trying to preserve that is a good thing to get tough results like this. So do you all agree John Nelson is man of the match?
Absolutely. Some of his diving tackles were, they were just amazing. There was one where we thought the defender skied it, and then replay showed that he hadn't skied it. It was actually Nelson had dove in there and timed it perfectly. So it looked like the shot had been skied, but in reality it was a tackle from Nelson, and he made several spectacular tackles like that. I mean, that's great to see from a young player, because young players tend to be reckless, and those were not reckless tackles. Those were, skilled, timed tackles that saved goals. So yeah, that's something you can build on.
Ben, what do you think?
So I think a lot of John Nelson's most heroic defensive actions came before I was actually able to tune in. Not to say that he didn't look bad after I tuned in, because he did look great. I mean, I'll have to take your word for it on man of the match, but man, Bresson just letting himself get wrecked like that, I always expect it. I always respect the player that, like, gives it up and just gets totally rocked, and that was Bresson. I mean, like, after coming in for Hedges at halftime, that ended up preserving the win.
And
he's
and mind
really
you, there was no more substitutions. So if he went down, there was no one to replace him either.
Yeah, he's really making his statement to, retire Reto or send Matt Hedges on his way right now, which is great. I mean, that's what he was brought here to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not agreeing with getting rid of anybody, but I'm agreeing that I've said it on the Slack channel and I've said it to you guys that Brisson is making the case to be a starter, and it may go to explain why Lucci's been wanting to play that 3-man backline, because we don't see the practices, and it could be that Brisson has just been killing it in practice. So Lucci has to find a reason to get him out there.
That's right.
And it looks like he's finding it. And Brisson in the last 3 matches has delivered. I mean, he's been sensational. Did we even miss Matt Hedges when he came off? I mean, you couldn't tell Matt Hedges wasn't out there because Brisson was simply,
He did
doing
the
it
job.
all.
Although
Yeah.
I think the team missed Matt. They missed his leadership back there and stuff. But
They do miss his leadership, but
yeah,
normally you would expect him to be sorely missed, but we didn't get that. I mean, there was no drop off on the defense with Brisson coming in there.
Right. Well, here's another thing that we should probably consider with them playing 3 central defenders. I mean, it's not only about having, a solid defensive base, but having those kind of players that are comfortable with the ball at their feet and are comfortable making line-breaking passes. And I mean, all 3 of those players are actually really good with the ball at their feet and good at breaking lines. So you can not only do that and assume a more defensive posture where, FC Dallas has clearly had a good defensive record so far, but also you can, press them up a little bit further and, have them splitting the lines and playing kind of, like a more of a aggressive Barcelona style, which I think that ultimately, more than anything about, pressing for playing time, that definitely factors into Lucci's thinking in my opinion.
well, this was an interesting game because with injuries to we're going to talk. We'll come back to injuries in just a little bit, but Matt Hedges going off, Jimmy Morrow going off, Brian Acosta now. A year ago or pre-COVID, this match would have been a disaster for FC Dallas to have to burn 3 substitutes early on, not be able to make those substitutes tweak the style to attack or exploit a weakness in Kansas City. But because of these rules and the additional substitutes, FC Dallas was able to finish the match with 11 players and use those additional subs in the second half to bring in some fresh legs, which I think helped make that win, the draw possible. So really interesting match from that standpoint of just to see for once these rules really help out a team in a tough spot. And of course, we wish all those players best. We'll talk about them in a minute. So, but I felt like there were some negatives from this match as well, and yeah, FC Dallas didn't overwhelm with the number of shots on goal, but there were a few juicy chances where really FC Dallas could have had another goal or two. Now, of course, Sporting Kansas City can also argue that too, that they had plenty of opportunities as well, if not for some heroic defending. But great to see Jara score, but you still kind of wish Barrios would have he was in on goal at least once. A really great chance, and there's just some missed opportunities that you still see this team trying to click in the final third.
Yeah, I think we're still seeing the midfield struggle. Honestly, I mean, for a team that likes to maintain possession, FC Dallas lost the possession battle. They only lost it by I don't know. Percentage of a point, but still, you're a team that's trying to win the possession battle, and the midfield just simply was disjointed. I mean, once Acosta came off, I like Tessman. I think Tessman did okay, uh, but he wasn't. He really wasn't part of the attack. Really, I mean, he was doing a good job of cycling balls back and to the sides, but other than that, it just there was a significant drop off. And like I said, the midfield and the wings, mind you, I think they all looked pretty much disjointed. I mean, they just could not maintain possession. They could not.
Mm-hmm.
We saw at times look like Sporting Kansas City was just simply teeing off on the defense for prolonged periods of time, and you don't want to see that. Yes, I was happy to see Cervania out there and Tessman, and I think that'll help them going forward, and the midfield will get better. But I think the midfield has been an issue as a whole for the entire since we came back, and Acosta was the one guy that looked like he was going to fix things up, and now he's injured, and you got to hope that it's nothing major, and he'll be back soon, because at this point that they really need him.
Well, I think Cervania was having a great game, really solid game, but he got that early yellow, and it just limited what he could do. He couldn't be as physical, and so it just was tough.
I don't think he was having a great game. I think he was having a solid game, but I mean, I honestly, he was just getting, every time he touched the ball, he was getting hacked or fouled, and I think he struggled with it. I mean, he was solid, but I don't think he was effective. I think he struggled, in all honesty, at points during the match, and come on, it's his first start, I think. So it wasn't bad, but it's going to get better if he gets more minutes, and that's just something that'll come with more play time.
Well, let's move on here. So we take the point away, but we look ahead to it's going to be a tough match on Wednesday. We'll get to that here in just a bit. So real quick, Jose, what's the latest on Reggie to Portugal, to Boa Vista? It seems like we're talking. Reggie's not playing. There's numbers being thrown about, but no final announcement. So it's like they're just working out the details. I guess the most recent rumor was that MLS was waiting for more money up front.
Yeah. So the thing is I'm constantly checking and trying to get as much as I can find out, checking all the sources, and the general consensus that I'm getting is that the deal is pretty much done, that it's all agreed to. The holdup is of course the deal is between FC Dallas and Boa Vista. Well, sorry, MLS and Boa Vista, but let's face it, Boa Vista's getting their money is dependent on French money, on the new majority owner from the Lille team, and I'm hearing that's where the hang-up is. I'm hearing it's a bureaucratic issue is what I'm hearing. So apparently everything's agreed to, but MLS isn't gonna agree to it until they're guaranteed to get, I don't know how much, a large chunk of the money up front. So I'm hearing that's the delay. The delay is everything's agreed to, but no money means no player. So even though everyone seems to be on the same page, this could still go south, But right now, the fact that Reggie isn't out there playing tells you just how close it is. I mean, I think like I said, everyone is pretty much saying it's just, red tape. Mm-hmm. That's the holdup.
Well, we'll wait for more news about that to drop. We certainly miss Reggie out there on the field, but hey, it's good for him. Go.
I want to add another thing. The team, if Reggie goes to Boa Vista, for people who don't know, is because of the influx of French money. That team is really, really going out and spending everywhere across the board, and people are noticing to the point that you've got the big three, but Boa Vista is one of 3 or 4 other teams that are really raising eyebrows at the commitment that they're spending. The players they're bringing in, this money they're bringing in, and I guess this is a trend. Boavista getting bought out by a French team. They're not the only Portuguese team. Another team got also bought out like that. And there's even another team that's probably going to be bought out soon. So there's fresh money coming into the Portuguese league. You still have the traditional big three, but there's money coming into the league this season, and it might be like the perfect time to get there because that league's simply going to get tougher all around.
Good nuggets there. Thanks, Jose, for updating on that. I know we're all just waiting to see FC Dallas get some money, get some cash. But let's shift before we get to our next opponent. Just talk about the injury report. If there was a big subplot to the match against SKC, it was injuries. It was seeing Jimmy Morrow go down. It looked like he just was going for a save and could get the ball and just sort of twisted something, pulled something. It didn't look good. Didn't look comfortable. Matt Hedges went out for. Looks like concussion-related kind of symptoms. Brian Acosta went off. So we lost 3 guys, and we were missing Fafa Pico and Paxton Pomykal, who was announced this week, did go through his season-ending surgery, so he won't be available at least until next year. So it's a challenging moment for this team. It's going to be a real test if all of these guys continue to miss, and we're still waiting on word, I think, from Fafa and others about kind of how long are these guys out? What is this team going to expect? So, Ben, what is this team going to do? How is this team going to manage it? Who's going to play left wing? What is Coach Lucci going to do?
Sign Arturo Rodriguez and bring him in to play left wing. And there's your creative presence you've been missing this whole time. I'm a big believer in Arturo. I mean, like, he may not, be the obvious, like, oh, he's definitely going to be like a Division I player, but man, that kid he's got it. So, I would like to see that very, very much. I don't ultimately know if that's going to happen. I don't know if Fafa's injury is that bad. I don't know that Chewy can't play a little bit better there. I don't know what Scott Seeley's doing nowadays. Like, I'm kind of curious to see what he's got to bring to the table. I mean, there's options there. And, next man up is a real cliche, but that also kind of fits into the organizational philosophy. So, I'm sure it'll be fine. Like, one thing to note, Acosta had a good game before he got hurt, but he had not been great to start out the season. Cervania came in to the reopening injured, so I would expect him to play better. I would also expect Tessman to play better because, he started out the season pretty well, and I think the dormancy kind of hurt him a little bit, but I think that at that position, FC Dallas has players that have all the talent to step up, not the experience, but they're all very promising talents. So there's a good chance that they will figure it out. They will busca la forma, in the words of the old profe.
Actually, I'll go a different way on this. I'm happy that Arturo's coming back. North Texas has certainly missed him. But let's face it, he's coming off an injury, so you can't really expect him to be in form or ready to actually help North Texas right away, much less FC Dallas. And I think maybe the answer might be to bring up Damas from North Texas. He's going to give you that, blazing speed that Barrios offers, and then they might play the same position, but you could always play Barrios on the left wing or have them switch up all the time. and I'd like to see Damas get a shot. Why not? It's a position of need, and I think Damas could give you valuable minutes. I like to see him get a shot at it.
That's bold. I like it too.
Well, I mean, I've been like a big fan of Nostradamus since he was in the academy.
Yeah,
I am the one. I am the one that blessed him with the nickname Nostradamus.
Well, I like to have a Nostradamus on FCD, and I like to see him get a shot. I think I'm not saying Arturo doesn't deserve a shot. I'm just saying we don't know what kind of shape Arturo is in. We don't even know if he's healthy. We haven't heard anything coming out of RSL. So he may be coming back, and he may not even be healthy, let alone be in form. He got 0 minutes. He was never on the 18. You never heard a bleep as to whether he was training or not. So I'm curious about what kind of Arturo we get back.
Good stuff. Well, and the other big player that's supposed to be getting ready or be ready to begin filling in, and maybe we will see Wednesday night and make his debut is Andres Ricarte. And really fill in for Paxton. And now, can he play on the left? Maybe he's an answer on the left. Maybe he's just a piece in the midfield there to really spearhead the attack. I don't know if he'll be ready Wednesday night. I'm hoping he is. Even if it's a sub role, it'd be great to see him out there.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, I think it was impressive to see him on the bench, and he probably would have gotten minutes had it not been for the slew of injuries that beset the team. And yeah, I'm excited. I like to see him even for 10 minutes, because then you can get an idea of what he has to offer. And I have a feeling, because of all the unless Jesus claims the spot, that Ricarte might be given a shot at the left wing to begin with until Fafa comes back and team gets a little healthier, and then maybe moved into the attack in mid position. But yeah, I'm excited. I want to see what he has to offer. Like I said, I've heard nothing but rave reviews from everyone that you listen to. In fact, if you follow social media, he's getting a lot of love from the fans in Colombia that he was on the bench, and Dallas was getting a lot of hate from player fans of the old team saying, basically, I can't say what they were saying, but it was nothing good. They were not happy that Dallas had their player. And further thing is a lot of fans, furthermore, I want to add that a lot of fans were disappointed that he ended up in MLS, because a lot of fans expected him to go play in Europe. So that's where the hate is coming towards Dallas. A lot of fans were saying, "What is he doing going to MLS? This guy should be playing in Europe." So I'm telling you, he's getting a ton of love, and I can't wait to see what all the raving's about.
Ben, you wanted to jump in there?
I mean, like I'm dying of curiosity myself, and I mean, like I could see in an ideal situation where he and Jesus Ferreira kind of balance each other out with that kind of dual 10 thing. I don't remember if you remember that when the two Mauros, Rosales, sorry,
Rosales,
and Diaz had their run in 2016, where I mean, it was a variety of trickery and understanding that made them look good, despite the fact that they were both like slow players and not really the kind of guys that you could expect any kind of defensive responsibility out of. So I mean, Chewy can play defense, and I don't know about Riquarte's.
He's considered an excellent defender for an attacking mid.
Yeah,
he's not considered to be a liability on defense, and like I said, he's also not a smallish midfielder either. He's like 6'1", and and he looks. Uh, he's not a big guy, you know. He looks
How,
like a Silky Moose type player.
well, because I think that's the biggest thing that fans are really going to look for in this new number 10 is body language, right? Body language.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
mean, like in my experience, any cultured FC Dallas fan doesn't really care about body language. They care about wins. But I've heard rumors that there's some people that are like really critical about creative players not always being happy and fired up and, you know,
hey, I'm one of these guys.
culturally appropriate to their tastes.
Let me just say that if this guy turns out to be half as good as what we're hearing, he could be a sneaky good addition. I mean, everyone, this is a player that fits a definite need in Dallas, and if he can deliver on that need, as a playmaker and a guy that can connect with the, he's going to have other Colombians. He's going to have Jesus and he's going to have Barrios. I mean, if they make him feel at home and he comes in and just flows. I mean, the defense is set. We just need the offense to get going. And if this guy can provide that, it could be one of those sneaky good additions that everyone's basically scratching their head going, whoa, how did Dallas suddenly start scoring and get good?
So what you're saying is he could be a potentially historically productive and successful player with the club. But will he remind you of Ted Eck?
I honestly, I believe it or not, I don't know who Ted Eck is. Sorry. Sorry. I'm just saying he comes
so
with.
Much better off for that.
I'm just saying he comes with a reputation as being a difference maker, and like I said, he's not getting a lot of hype. He's not a European name. He's not, so he could be an under the radar signing where nobody in the league outside of Dallas is really expecting anything special from this guy. So, I mean, this is a guy who can come in and suddenly people are asking, who's that?
Yeah. Well, that's what we're hoping. The crazy thing about this game, this last game too, was at the end of the match, because of Hedges was forced off. Hollingshead was moved to be one of the center back roles, which was fascinating, and Reynolds was brought in at right wing back, and so you really had an interesting. I think Lucci has freedom. It looks like he's going to try some things and try to deploy these players in the best way. I'm expecting a 5-3-2 of some kind on Wednesday. I think it's going to be a defensive formation, but I think we'll have to see. I mean, I don't know.
Here's the thing I hate about like 3-5-2, 5-3. I mean, like the way you line up that position, it can be a really attacking position, depending on how your defenders position themselves. Like they can press out wide and then push up the wings really easily, and then it's like one of the more aggressive formations that you'll have. And I mean, that's one of the genius things about that kind of setup is that you can easily go from like a pure 3 in the back to a pure 5 in the back. And so I I don't like 5 in the back talk, because it doesn't really grasp the flexibility in that setup, in my opinion.
That's fair. I mean, I think that's the way Lucci is taking it, so that whether because Nelson has gotten forward more each game, but in those first games it was almost like he was pinned back in a very more defensive first mindset, and as he gets more comfortable, you're seeing him move forward. Whereas Hollingshead feels pretty comfortable, is pretty skilled at going both ways at this point. So yeah, I think we're going to see that tweaking with each match. Let's jump ahead to this Wednesday night. FC Dallas will travel to Minnesota to play Minnesota United FC, and of course we remember that. FC Dallas got their first home win this since the break against Minnesota United. I'm trying to pull up the schedule because it seems like it was a long time ago.
So here's the thing though: is you're not going to face the exact same Minnesota team that you faced then, because
Right.
Minnesota had that big signing Reynoso, and
He played tonight.
Yeah, he actually played on Sunday. Yeah, he just played against Real Salt Lake, and he basically he played like 72 minutes, and they won 4-0. I mean, and even for a guy that didn't really look to be completely in sync, you could still see that he's going to be a difference maker for them. So it was very interesting to see that guy come in and have an impact. So you got to wonder if we're going to get the exact same Minnesota team, and I doubt it. It's going to be our defense better be on point, and maybe the 3-man backline is necessary because, let's face it, if you're on the road, you're gonna try to get that point, really.
Nkosi Burgess? Huh?
Oh yeah, I don't know what's happened to him. I haven't heard anything about Burgess, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he makes his debut on Wednesday night. Maybe,
but honestly, I haven't seen him on. Have we seen him in the bench? Have we seen? I mean, I'm starting to wonder if Burgess isn't getting any minutes on the senior side, maybe it's time to give him some minutes on North Texas, because they certainly need help on defense.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one thing that I've heard is that there are definitely some roster restriction difficulties that they're having.
It's affecting the move. Yep.
All credit to the all-knowing and seeing Buzz on that one. Apparently, I'll just take his word for it on it, even though he's wrong about a lot of shit. But no, he hasn't made the bench, and he hasn't been made available for North Texas, and it's pondersome.
Yeah, you got to start wondering, because I mean, we've heard nothing before this season. We heard nothing but good things about him and his potential and what he could bring. But honestly, with the way Brazan's been playing as your third center back, I mean, it makes you wonder if he can even get on the field, you know?
Well, I mean, Hedges is hurt now, though. So, you mean, like, you got to have somebody.
Although the word was that it looked okay. I think Hedges is probably going to be able to go on Wednesday.
I think so. I think so too, in all honesty. And I think with the way that Brazan is playing, it gives you that confidence that if Rito or Matt pick up a small, a minor injury that they could actually play through, you say, well, you know what? Let's sit you down as a precaution, and Brazan's in good shape. Let's send him out there. So I think it makes it easier to simply take a precaution and not force Matt or Rito to play through with it, even if it's just a minor knock.
Yeah.
Especially with the short turnaround in the games, by the way.
It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, this will be a really tough match. Now, I mean, looking at Minnesota, we, of course, FC Dallas beat them at home 3-1. It's really the game that really FC Dallas got going. But that was also part of a stretch of 4 losses for Minnesota. But then they were back home on Sunday and just crushed RSL, just crushed them 4-0. So I think there's still a potential for points to be had for FC Dallas. But it's going to be a tough match. It's going to be a tough match, and I think that sort of counter bunker approach, it'll be interesting to see what Lucci tries to do. And I just hope this is a match that if Barrios can get going, even if they lose, but Barrios gets a goal or something, I'd be pretty fine with that result.
And here's the thing, though: if you're going to start the 3-man backline, then I'll tell you right now, I'd rather that Barrios not start, because I would rather have a fresh Barrios coming in the second half to run at a tired defense or a tired team. And I think that works out better for him than with the way he's been struggling, to just send him out there. And then you have to sit him when you need him the most at the end of the game. You know,
Did he
I would
did he get
rather.
jobbed on the handball in the game? Whenever he got the
The,
ball blasted off of him, and
my
then like
initial,
he had a breakaway.
my son and I were watching. We were watching it, and my son got upset, and I at first said I think that was harsh, but then when they slowed it
I think so
down,
too.
the way, because I think it wasn't just that it hit his hand, because it was close, it was tight, it kind of ricocheted, but it was the fact that it hit his hand, then it went into a really nice attacking position. Like, it really helped the attack, and maybe if it had fallen a different way, maybe they wouldn't have called it, but yeah, I feel
I
like it
think
did give an advantage, and so I think that's why they
I
called it.
think I think it actually. I think he did get jobbed on it because it actually had hit off his chest, and it hit the arm on the way down. It was already in a downward trajectory, and honestly, it wasn't like intentional. His arms were
Right.
just moving in a natural position, and I don't think it was. I think it actually. I'm not even convinced that it actually hit him in the arm because it happened to go by the arm in the same direction as the arm, but it didn't change direction. It didn't change. It bounced off his chest and simply bounced and continued its normal. So I didn't see it suddenly ricochet, even in the slightest direction change at all. So I honestly thought when I saw it that was. I mean, I wish they would have reviewed it. In all honesty, so I think it was close, and I think he got jobbed on it. I think that was. I'm not saying he would have scored. It's Barrios, but I certainly would have liked to have seen him get a shot at it.
It would have been nice if in the VAR era they had let him play through it, which is something that they have been
Yeah.
mostly good about doing. And I think if they had reviewed it, I don't know what would happen.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm angry all the time these days, and I want to be angry at that. I hate Kansas City. I hate Peter Vermes, and I hate MLS refs.
Mm.
And I think Michael Barrios deserved to score a goal there and embarrassed Tim Malia yet again. And I'm mad about it.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I mean, I hope Barrios can get it. I mean, he's getting in some positions. He's getting some opportunities. He hasn't been able to put anything away yet. So we're all waiting. We're waiting to see when this team really can click and figure it out. And with these injuries and things, that makes life harder. So let's do predictions to wrap up the stream. Thanks everybody for joining us. Let's just say what right now. What's your gut on what does FC Dallas come away with on Wednesday?
My guess is going to be 1-1. In all honesty, I think the Dallas defense holds up again under fire, and the team manages to get one in there late, preferably early, but I think it'll be 1-1, and Dallas gets another road point before a 2-game homestand, which hopefully delivers some wins.
Ben?
I don't even know what's real anymore.
Yeah.
Honestly, they could go in and do a smash and grab. I mean, you're all right. Barrios has not been in good form so far this year, but he's also not over the hill. He's still fast, and he's still shown over the course of a long career at FC Dallas that he does have that little touch and that little trickery with the speed where he'll have the occasional hat trick where he just dominates on the road. Like Kansas City, he's had a hat trick at Kansas City. He was dominant at Columbus several years ago with a team full of homegrowns. So, I mean, you can never really count out Michael Barrios. He is he is definitely in my pantheon of favorite FC Dallas players, far, far, far ahead of Ted Eck. Sorry, Ted. But you don't score hat tricks, Ted.
On Barrios, I just wanted to point out that I have to wonder if maybe he has a knock of some kind, because uh, Ben sitting here saying about the whole Barrios moves and this and that. I haven't seen it this season. I've seen Barrios with excellent straight ahead. How many times have we seen him get the and then go straight into defenders and really never change? Like he's moving, the speed's still there, but I'm not seeing that agility. I'm not seeing the direction or the trickery that has been there in the past. And I'm wondering about that. I mean, listen, and I'm thinking I think he's got a knock, something that prevents him to maybe he's got a minor ankle injury or something. His speed is there, but I'm not seeing anything other than speed. How many times has he gone on a breakaway and basically ran right into a center back or a defender without ever really trying to go around them? Like he's trying to go through them. And I have to wonder if maybe he's got a knock that they're not telling us about that prevents him from being able to make those sudden cuts. You can run. I'm just saying, watch the games. He goes fast forward, but I've yet to see him get the ball in space, going really fast, and then see him suddenly make that change direction. I haven't seen it. Not consistently, no.
Yeah, no. I think with Michael Barrios' game, there is a fine tuning dial where he can look like a one-dimensional track midget. Sorry. he'll end up looking like that, but then there's also points where he finds that extra level of skill, and I don't know. I mean, he didn't look hurt to me. I haven't seen enough to really perceive that, but I have seen enough to know that he's not in form right now.
And that could just be it. I mean, I'll take it to that, and I hope he finds his form against Minnesota, because a dangerous Barrios that can actually score would really help this team.
Well, and I'm hoping for a draw, but I'm going to go with I think it's a loss on Wednesday. I think it's a hard-fought one, a 2-1 loss, something like that. So FC Dallas gets something, and so we don't come away feeling completely miserable. But I don't know. So, but also here's the craziest thing about Barrios lately that I have noticed that it just drives me nuts. Now maybe not so much in this last game, but it was there too. But using Barrios as a heading target, seeing Barrios, one of the shortest players on the team, in there trying to win balls in the ball, and I just think, what's up with that?
Okay, hold up, Nate, because he's been used like that several times before. It had some really big success, like a hat trick against Kansas City, like dominating Columbus with a homegrown team. He is actually a good target striker whenever you're playing counter ball.
Fine, but
he's so fast, and he's so slippery and diminutive, and he's just impossible for center defenders to deal with whenever you're playing long ball. He is. I mean, there is plenty of history of him doing it.
By the way, guys, I'm going to just throw this out there. I'm actually hoping that Ricardo doesn't play against Minnesota, and I'll tell you why. Because I would rather he make his debut at home against Houston. We torch Houston, and an instant legend is born. That's great.
That's a storybook.
I want.
That's a storybook. But I think with the injury situation, I think we're probably going to see him tomorrow night, even if it's just for a sub late. But if they're defending, if they're defending late, they may not want to bring him on. They may want to bring on another defender type. So it'll be interesting to see the chess match unfold. Well, let's leave it there, y'all. Thanks everybody for joining us, and of course check out bigdsoccer.com for great pieces. Jason Poon had another great chalkboard piece I highly recommend. Player ratings, workhorse, other stuff coming out. And we will see you in another week after some more FC Dallas soccer. All right. So thank you all. Thanks, Jose. Thanks, Ben. Good night.
Good night.